The last time I had a guest coming on was the day that Facebook went out for, I don't know how long it was out, but apparently when she tried to join, she couldn't join because Facebook was out. So hopefully that won't happen today. And I'm not very used to doing this, adding guests. So I guess when she is requesting to come on, I'll see some kind of notification. So if not, then I'll just talk to you for a few minutes and we'll be done. But hopefully she'll come on. It's about the right time. And it is Lisa Rice if she does come on. And she wrote a book for the bundle about international food, international cuisine. So I'm anxious to hear what was all in her book. And I'm going to go ahead and add the link for the bundle into the comments. So that way, if you haven't already gotten your bundle and you're interested in it, you can just click on this link and get it. So I just got through with the live where I was making homemade Snicker bars. So how many of you watched that? I don't see anybody on yet, but I did want to show them to you because I did get them cut. So if anybody comes on that was watching the last live, oh, here we go. Lisa is joining. Okay, Lisa. Okay. Add left.
Hello?
Hey, Lisa. How are you? I'm glad this worked.
Hi, I know. Thank you. Have you been doing them all like this?
No, this is the first one I've done on eCam. So I've done Instagram Live before, but I got this new program and I've never done any kind of having a guest join. So the other day I was supposed to have somebody join my live and they never came on. And I was like, I must have done something wrong, but it was the day that Facebook went out. So, Facebook went down for just the time I was doing my video.
That's so crazy. That was a crazy day.
I just got through making
What you got there?
Well, I was just doing a live right before this, and these are the homemade Snicker bars. And they're from the Date Ladies book. And they're
I love the date.
Yeah, it has a nougat layer, a crust, and a chocolate layer. They're really good. It's funny, they just taste like Snicker bars. So.
Oh my gosh, I want one. Well, I made your ginger cookies.
Oh, nice. How are they?
Last night. They're fantastic. I already made your steel cut oats with the shiitake mushrooms, which was delicious. And then last night after dinner, I wanted something sweet. And I'm like, I'm talking to Julia in the morning. Let me see what she's got sweet in her book. And I saw the fresh ginger cookies, and I just love that their glaze is made with fresh ginger juice. Especially since I started the bundle on the tail end of a cold with laryngitis. I've been taking a lot of ginger.
If I walk away from the camera, it's because my puppy's tied up on a leash over here. And I have to look to see what he's doing every now and then and make sure he's not chewing on the table, on the leg of the expensive pottery.
Well, I have to tell you that I was really excited to see that you had your plant-based Japanese too in the bundle this year, because I absolutely love your recipes. I think I told you last year that Japanese food is my #1 favorite food. And you really, your recipes make it so accessible and delicious.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, I like Japanese food a lot, and it's something that you can't really go get it anywhere out in, a restaurant unless it's always the same thing. Basically, about all you can get is a plain sushi roll with cucumbers, or you can get a salad, but you can't even use the dressing because the dressing will have sesame oil in it.
Yeah.
And so
there's a lot of fried tempura and stuff, but I love that there's onigiri in yours. I absolutely love onigiri.
Yeah, and you can make it.
And it's not super easy to make.
Yeah.
Can you not have it?
You can, yeah, you can make it with
Um,
brown rice too, but you have to make sure it's sticky brown rice. So you have to cook it in a rice cooker. You can't just take brown rice, like frozen brown rice, or brown rice cooked in, let's say, pasta style. But probably instant pot brown rice would work. But I don't like the way it tastes in the instant pot that much.
well, I really, for years, I mainly ate brown rice, but my husband and my son prefer white rice, which
Yeah.
of course we know isn't as nutritious.
Yeah.
But I found this Japanese Haida rice that's a hybrid.
Oh yeah, yeah, I use that.
So I've been using that a lot because it makes everybody happy and at least it has a little fiber. Some of the whole, right?
Yeah, I actually have that. I haven't given it to Joy. I actually have that rice, but M. Pennington says, glad to be making the live. Lisa's sound is echoing. So I haven't
Oh, okay,
heard.
thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't
we'll
know.
fix that. Okay, so we're on eCam right now too. We started, my husband set eCam up for me at the beginning of the week when I had laryngitis. And I was trying to post it on YouTube so that it would go to Instagram and Facebook as well. But there were a lot of complications because we hadn't really run it very much yet. So am I still echoing?
Well, I never heard the echoing, so somebody out there is hearing it. I didn't hear it. It sounds fine to me.
Can you hear me talking?
I can hear you, yeah.
Julia?
Yes.
Okay, is that your dog's squeaky toy?
Sorry. My
No,
sound
that's
effects.
cute.
Oh, I can't hear you now.
Oh goodness.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay. All
I can
right,
hear you.
sorry about that.
That's okay.
Anyway, so I think we're all,
Well,
what?
you know what? You need to turn off. You need to turn off. You need to turn. Sorry, echo cancellation on the interview window
Me?
in eCam.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's where it's coming from.
Okay.
So cute.
Echo, I don't see any setting for that.
For where are you in the interview window?
Yep. It does not show anything like
And
that.
if you scroll down, there's some kind of hidden stuff underneath it. Usually, it should say use echo cancellation. You don't see that?
No, it may be under the sound. Let me look in the sound part. Yeah, oh, I see it. Where you find that is in the sound. Translation is under the sound for sound.
Okay, I think we got you then.
So how are we now? Good?
We'll ask the
Fantastic.
audience. Is the echo gone, audience? Let us know.
Yes, let us know, please.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out eCam, and it's just me doing this. My husband's not involved in he doesn't understand any of this, so he does his own thing. But, so if something goes wrong, it's kind of like me, myself, and I going, well, let's see. This went wrong, and I had a microphone, everything, and that wasn't working. And that started, so I ordered a new one. So everything that could go wrong has been going wrong.
Well, kudos to you, because look, you're doing it, and you're doing it on your own. And poor David, when I'm trying to use the eCam, I'm always screaming for him when something goes wring. So I should really learn to use it on my own as well.
Well, I'm telling you, if anybody in there, yeah. I was going to say, if anybody in my house was better at it than me, I'd sure be calling them. But all my kids are grown up. See, I used to rely on my children. Okay, it's good. Echo's gone. I used to rely on my children, and then, it's all good. And my children all grew up. So then it was like, oh, crap, I don't have anybody to do all my computer stuff for. This was years ago.
No tech support.
Well, now my grandchildren, it's funny. I have a 10, almost 11-year-old grandson, and he's really smart. And he and my other grandson have their own YouTube channel, and they do silly stuff. But I told my grandson recently, I said, hey, James, grow up a little bit more, and in a couple years you can be my, specialist in making all these videos. And he said, yeah, Grandma, I'll help you. So And he was serious. He was
I
like, yeah, I'm
love
going to
that.
learn everything. So,
Well, he's lucky. I'd love to run your tech for your
uh,
cooking.
I have a friend who
So
comes over.
he's Um, I love a good ginger snap, and I just want to talk about your cookies for a sec
Okay.
for whoever's watching, because in addition to all that incredible food you've got, the yakisoba, the
Mm-hmm.
onigiri. Yes, mine don't look as pretty as yours,
Well, they look good though.
but
Yeah.
they're. These are so good, and they're
They
so
look
much
good.
better than what you buy in the store, and they
Mm-hmm.
leave you feeling good because they're whole grain flour,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got ground flax in them. But you know what I
Mm-hmm.
had fun doing? So I made the batter last night, and right after I made it, I made some cookies. And I actually used the air fryer because our oven here in San Francisco doesn't have convection, and you
Mm-hmm.
recommended convection. So I'm like, oh, I'll use the
Mm-hmm.
air fryer. And I've never baked in the air fryer before, but they came out really good. I put them on bake.
Mm-hmm. They
And
look good.
then, so those were good. And then I took the other half of the dough and I put it
Mm-hmm.
in the fridge. You recommended chilling it if you had time. And then I
Mm-hmm.
cooked these this morning and they came out even better. And then this morning I made the glaze with the ginger
Mm-hmm.
juice. And I actually made them with coconut sugar. And what I did was I took the coconut sugar and put it in my NutriBullet and powdered
Mm-hmm.
it. And then I made the glaze with the ginger, the almond milk, and that. And they came out really, really good.
They look really good. I love, and those cookies freeze well. So when I made a
Oh,
lot of
that's
test batches, I always have those in my freezer, because I don't want to eat them all too quickly. So I'll eat a couple the first day and then I'll freeze them. And then when the sweet tooth hits, I just go in there and grab one and have it with my cup of tea so that I can, make them last a long time. And that works for me. So good.
I
And,
mean, I have a sweet tooth, and one of the things I love in the bundle is that there's so many dessert recipes, and
yeah,
I've made
yeah,
several of them. And so you can enjoy the sweets and you
mhm,
feel good afterwards, right?
yeah,
Yes, your Snickers.
yeah. I wanted to show you something else I made. I made so this morning I made the Snicker bars for those that came on later, and they turned out amazing. I mean,
So
I hate to
good.
say that about stuff, but they really did, and they do taste kind of like a Snickers bar. Yesterday I made the carrot cake energy bites, and these were in the ebook. There's one covered with coconut
Mm.
flakes. There's one covered with walnuts, and they're made of carrots and dates and different things, and they taste like a carrot cake. They really do. It's so strange,
Ooh,
but
I'm gonna
it's
have
like
to
you
make
said, guilt free because it's all good ingredients. There's no flour. This is from Heather
that's right.
Dahman's Garden Gourmet by Heather Dahman. And then this is Chef AJ's Goodman Peanut Chews. I still had one left in the
But we
freezer.
already ate our Goodman peanut
Uh,
chews.
yeah. And this was my,
They're long gone.
and then this was the bite. I've been eating off of the Snickers bars, but it's just like so decadent. But
Oh
anyway,
my gosh, I'm gonna make those. Those
yeah,
were my
they're.
favorite candies as a kid, and I love that
Mm-hmm,
there's a recipe for that. I
mm-hmm.
what was I gonna say? Oh, today I'm talking to Debbie Adler, and she has
Oh,
a
okay.
recipe for salted caramel apple bars. So when I
Oh,
hang up with
oh,
you, I'm gonna make those before I get on with her. Yeah, they look
oh,
really good.
nice
They're
of
made with
you.
dates,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nuts and seeds and green apple. So I love the nutrients in all these
Mm-hmm.
desserts. And
Somebody
again, they
said they
don't
love
like
your
for someone who
T-shirt.
oh,
Somebody said
thank
they
you.
love your T-shirt. I like that too. Hey, Lisa, I wanted you
Thank
to
you.
tell me about your ebook. I saw it had all these international flags on it, and it was international. And I looked through it briefly, but I want you to tell me about what inspired you to write that and what kind of recipes you have in yours.
Well, I love to eat. And but we don't go out to eat that much. We mainly eat at home because I love to cook and I cook a lot. So, I think just over the years I just experimented with making plant-based versions of some of my favorite ethnic cuisines, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Mexican, Costa Rica. And over time, I just amassed all these recipes, and they're recipes that, I do nutrition and lifestyle coaching. And when people come to me who've been on the standard American diet, there's a lot of fear a perception that eating a whole food plant-based diet is going to be unsatisfying, right?
Yeah.
Like they're thinking about, I'm sure you've experienced this. They're
Mhm.
thinking
Oh,
salads
yeah.
and plain food. And the first thing I do with them is, one of the first things I say is pick a favorite recipe of yours from your family, like if it's an ethnic recipe or whatever, nostalgic traditional recipe, and let's make a plant-based version of it. Because really all the flavor in these dishes that we love and know, from chili to curries to Japanese stir fries, is from the seasonings. It has nothing to do with the meat, right? Has
Right,
nothing
yeah.
to do with, yeah. So it's, you're taking all those spices and herbs and flavorings from the regions where these foods came from. And now we're so lucky we have access to all of that all the time, right? It's a click away to order things online.
Yeah.
So I think that's what inspired me to do it. So, because I really wanted to share all this flavor. It's really about the flavor. Because I think one of the things about the bundle that I think is really great is that if you're not vegan, or you're just, if you're an omnivore and you want to eat healthier and want to eat more plants, the bundle's a great opportunity to do that, because everything you could possibly need to start incorporating it is in it,
Yeah, yeah, and it has different levels of health too. Like, people
Yeah.
that have some serious heart disease or a condition where they really want to be super, super compliant and salt, oil, and sugar free. There are some ebooks for that. I was just watching, excuse me, I was watching Edie, Garden of Edie on Chef AJ earlier today, talking about how she reversed her high blood pressure. And she does not use any salt, oil, or sugar at all, because she had a really severe case, probably genetic, but still, even though she was slender and healthy, she thought she still could not ever get it to budge. So when she started eating, salt, oil, and sugar-free plant-based, then it went down to 90 over 60, and it stayed there for 10 years. But she gives a lot of tips about eating salads and, salad dressings that are super healthy, and just how to kind of change your taste buds. And so she has an ebook about that. And so people that are there in that spot that need that, they'll find that to be useful. But, if somebody it can eat more like our food, that has a little bit, you can adjust the amount of sodium and the small amount of some sweeteners or whatever. And you can still, like, I managed to get off the weight that I had and lower my cholesterol and lower my blood pressure, still eating this food, which it works for me, but maybe not for everybody. But I don't have to give up all the salt, oil, and sugar. Well, oil, I gave up oil, but I don't have to give up all salt and sugar to be able to, have good health. I do watch my sodium, and I try to keep it under about 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. And so I do keep track of that in my mind, because I know the sodium content of everything I make, because I've measured it. And so I've cut way back on sodium. And whenever a recipe, like some people, like the Esselstyn sometimes will have a recipe for an Asian dish. And it blows me away how much soy sauce they'll put in stuff. They'll put like half a cup of soy sauce into some kind of marinade. And I look at that and go, wow, that's 8 tablespoons or 16 tablespoons or whatever. I think it's 8 tablespoons of soy sauce in half a cup. And, I might use 2 at the most tablespoons. So.
Well, I tend to use, I'm like you. I didn't have any serious diseases when I first went plant-based. Going plant-based actually, I think the main culprit for me was dairy, because as soon as I quit the dairy and the meat and the processed foods, I got rid of my asthma and I got rid of my cystic acne. But I didn't know during that time anything about oil. No one was talking about oil, so I didn't stop oil. But just getting rid of those foods, the dairy, the processed, the refined sugar was a big one for me. And then likewise, Lauren Burnick, she reversed her heart disease. She has the Holiday Classics cookbook by going very strict with following Dr. Esselstyn. But what I say in my ebook is that you can, if you're on a SOS free or a low sodium diet, you can cut or omit the sodium in pretty much all the recipes. I do recommend, like what I found here in San Francisco with all the Asian markets, I found low sodium miso that I use all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, I have
I
that.
have a low sodium, yeah, and low
Hmm.
sodium tamari. So if you can
Hmm.
find those things,
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's very helpful. And
Lydia
and
says in
I,
the comments, "I love your ebook, Lisa." So that was
oh,
good to
thank
see.
you
Yeah,
so much. I'm so
Lydia.
glad. Thank you for saying that. Um, I'm glad. It's when I started it, I was like, I didn't know where to stop. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
but I need to add a recipe for this country. But I thought
Hmm.
maybe I'll do a part two.
I love the concept
Um,
because you know, that's the way a lot of people eat. Is they eat Italian, Mexican, Chinese, Thai, Japanese. Excuse me, I've got talking too much. So people
I
are used
started
to
out the
eating that
bundle
way.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people eat out, and so they're thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
and we have access to all this food, right? What do we want
Yeah.
tonight? Do we want Italian? Do we want
Right.
Mexican? But when I
And
think
yeah.
about, but I love to cook,
Hmm.
so I, I think I came to it through thinking that way of how I could do
Hmm.
it at home. So
Yeah. And
yeah, and your,
yeah,
oh yeah, no, go ahead.
it's so much healthier because I used to go get food from takeout all the time when I was younger, when I was raising all my kids, and I used to be a lot heavier.
Mhm.
My highest weight was in the 240 pounds when I was pregnant with my fourth child. But part of that was
Mm.
being pregnant. But even so, after that, I stuck at about 180 pounds for a long time. And I like to
Mm.
eat, and we would eat takeout all the time. And when you get takeout food, it's greasy, salty, and there's a lot of it. And I would just eat huge amounts
Mhm.
of that kind of food, and I loved it. But I don't I don't want to gain back all the weight I lost, so I don't eat like that anymore. Even vegan takeout is the same thing. It's got tons of oil, so I can make
Well, yeah,
like
I think,
all that stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and well, I think they have to sell the food, right? And so
Hmm.
what's going to make
Yeah,
people really crave it is
yeah,
the salt,
salt.
fat, and the sugar, right?
They
So
taught
it's
us
so
that in
nice to be able
culinary
to eat.
school, was to add lots
What's
of
that?
butter. They taught us that in culinary school, is that they always wanted us to add more salt and more fat to everything.
Mm.
When they would test our food,
You
whenever
know,
I would bring mine up there, the chef would say, "You didn't season this food," and I would say, "Yeah, I did. I put salt, whatever." And, no, it needs more salt. And that was, to me, they always said it needs more salt because I was always taught to use less salt. But no, they wanted you to like overload it with salt. So that's how restaurant food is mostly.
when I was at Whole Foods and working at the Medical Wellness Center, I went to the McDougall Institute with a bunch of the patients from the clinic. We did these
Hmm.
immersions. And what McDougall recommends is don't put salt in your food while you're cooking it. And then if you really want some, you'll consume less if you have it on the side and just take a little pinch of it to flavor your food
Hmm.
after.
Yeah.
And, it's easier to
Hmm.
control the amount of sodium you take in if you don't put it in while you're cooking it and you just
Hmm.
put a little on after.
Yeah.
Um, but I've been more conscious, way more conscious of that because that's probably
Hmm.
one area where I could be a little bit more diligent. The salt,
Hmm. Well,
because I love the miso and the tamari
mhm.
and the brags, and I love that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. And according to Dr. Greger, like the people, the National Health Association and that group, they're SOS free, but they use miso. And they justify using
Mhm.
miso because the probiotic benefits of the miso outweigh the fact that it's kind of high in sodium. But they don't use much of it, so they'll
Mhm.
use like 2 little teaspoons. But the typical
Yeah,
way that miso soup is made, they put a lot of miso in miso soup in restaurants. That's why it's so strong, because they're not putting like,
yeah.
I'm really kind of cautious, and I'll put like 3 level tablespoons of miso in the pot of soup. But I've seen it in restaurants where they take a giant scoop and they put it in there, and it's a lot more than what I would put in mine.
Well, I think it's really cool that you have taken, because I think Japanese food, particularly eating out, tends to be higher in
Hmm.
sodium
Oh
because
yeah.
of the miso and the soy sauce. I think it's really cool how you've taken these additional recipes and created healthful versions of them.
Well, thank you. I really
You
do
know,
a lot of it for myself.
I wanted to show some of the, I don't think you're going to be able to see it though,
Okay.
but I wanted to see if anybody could see. Can you see this? Oh, you'll zoom it
Yeah,
in.
move it over a little bit.
I wanted to scroll. I wanted to
Yeah, I can
scroll
see it
through for
now.
whoever's watching. Here, let me see if David, can you get it up there on your computer?
Yeah, I can.
I just wanted to do a quick scroll through, and we
Okay,
don't have
sure.
to do all 150 of them.
Uh,
But maybe we should, it would be good to show. Melissa recommended just kind of sharing some of the content that's in there. I've been trying to do that, but there's so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And so I want whoever's watching to at least see some of the great contributions. So much work went into this, and I've just barely cracked the surface of some. You know, of course, I'm attracted to all the cookbooks, but I haven't even delved into the courses. There's incredible courses in here. I watched some videos, like Melissa Maris has her hand salads, and I have here it is. There we go.
Good. Wow,
You
nice.
can cover me. Yeah. And so let's just scroll through a few. But I mean, Ayurvedic, there's the desserts. This one, go back, Macro Val. She was great because I talked to Macro Val on the first day. And so she has all these healing recipes for illness. And I had laryngitis, so she was coaching me live what to do. Okay, keep going. And let's see. Keep going. Oh yeah. So there's weight loss, the date lady, which I'm so happy about because last year I got like 6 bags of date sugar with her coupon. Okay, go ahead. All these healing with food, cooking for company. That's a good one if you're having a gathering. All these recipes. That was a healthy vegan eating. I think
watched that
most of these. Which one was that?
You're only as old as your arteries. She does a video series, and I watched a couple of those, and they were really good. She's a good speaker, so I was really interested in that, you know, with the aging issues. Well, so I watched that, and I thought it was really helpful.
Yeah, there's one I haven't looked at yet. Well, I don't know if we'll see it up here, but it's the building muscle post-menopause. So for women, that one looks really good. But
pizzas. Yeah, I'm making a pizza tomorrow from the pizza ebook.
Oh, fantastic!
That one. I'm going to make the trumpet mushroom pizza. So I'm going to make that tomorrow.
Ooh, I'm going to look today.
Did you see the Indian?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Later on today, I'm going to make some recipes out of the Northern Indian book.
Oh, is that broccoli, Mom?
I've already made I've already made the naan bread this morning.
Ooh.
And it's made with whole wheat flour.
How'd it turn out?
It's good.
It looks fantastic. Well, you know, I've eaten all the.
I'm going to put.
Oh, go ahead. Tell something.
I'm going to make tofu tikka wraps with it. So later on today.
I'm going to have to look that one up. Well,
it's in Broccoli
I've eaten all the food I've made from every. Oh yeah, Broccoli Mom. I've eaten all the food I've made from everybody else, but I did make for our dinner last night. I made the easy dal from our recipe, from my recipe book. So now that I'm looking at your naan, I want to make some of that naan to go with the dal that we've got.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
But this is
definitely.
Yeah, this is super easy. It's cold. I haven't heated it up, but I just thought I'd plate it because it was the only thing I had left. I've eaten everything that I've made this week.
Hey,
everything
Lisa,
was so good.
If you message me on Instagram your bundle link, I'll put your link in the comments too, so people can order from you and me. I've got my Instagram pulled up here, so I'll definitely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, please buy the bundle because I think we only have through Sunday now, right?
Yep, that's right.
I'm just going to jump in and say hi again. It's David, and I know you're just getting to know Ecamm, and we've been using it for a little while. And one And I know you mentioned using a mic. The most helpful thing we've discovered is if you use headphones, then you can turn off echo cancellation, and your
Mm.
audio is unspeakably better.
Oh,
It
okay.
gets really garbled with that. So just if you're auditioning other
Mm.
options, just that's a
So
little
like
thing we figured
AirPods, you
out.
mean?
Yeah, like
Would
AirPods would be
AirPods
perfect.
work? Oh, okay. Because I have some good AirPods. I hadn't even thought of that. Great, thank you.
Yeah, David set up Eat Cam for me per Kathy Hester's
Mm-hmm.
recommendation because I was doing lives with Kathy, who is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Her
That's
offerings in
how
the
I
bundle,
started it.
she and Cheryl have the starch solution, and she's
Uh-huh.
got the vinegar cookbook. Her recipes are fab, but she kind of counseled us on how to set up Ecamm and everything. So I started using it to do YouTube lives, but hadn't really thought about it for the bundle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's we're still on the learning curve a little bit, but we've had
Yeah.
a little bit of experience with it from doing
Yeah,
the lives. So
that's good to know because I had an external mic that worked until yesterday, and I ordered a new one that should come, but not in time for the bundle. But I can try this with my AirPods. What kind of tea are you drinking? I'm drinking decaf green tea from, um, it's called Republic of Tea is the brand, and it comes in a canister and they're tea bags. But I drink a lot of green tea, like all day long. I drink decaf green tea because of the anti-aging properties. So that was in How Not to Age. So if you want to, you know, live to be 100, or I'm going to turn 70 this year, so I'm all for anti-aging.
well, Julia, you have to listen to my podcast. Lauren Bernick and I started a podcast called
Mm-hmm.
Age Like a Badass Mother. And we
Hey.
just interviewed Dr. Greger. We interviewed Dr. Greger and we interviewed Dr. Clapper. Um, and yes, we learned a lot
Mm-hmm.
from Dr. Greger. There's so much information in that book. Have you
Mm-hmm.
read the book? I told him it's
Yes.
going to take me till I'm 100 to read that book because there's so much
I
information.
have been looking at parts of it, listening to it on, audiobooks, and I've digested parts of it, but there's just so much. So yeah, that's a
Yeah, Dr.
catchy.
Greger is amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, nutritionfacts.org, he everything's evidence-based data. He
Mm-hmm.
just I think there were how many it was a crazy amount of citations he used to
Mm-hmm.
write that book,
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
forgetting what
yeah.
it is now, but it was a
That's insane. Yeah, he's great. That was what I did to really get my health in order. Was in May of 2020. I started following How Not to Die Daily Dozen, and I did that. I
Daily.
started all those 21-day challenges where I would eat nothing but the Daily Dozen for 21 days. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
So if you don't have whoever's watching, go to
they have an app.
nutritionfacts.org
Yeah.
and print out Daily Dozen and hang
Hmm.
it on your refrigerator.
Yeah. And they
It's
also have.
beans.
Mm, go ahead.
Mhm. Oh, I was just going to say the Daily Dozen: beans, fruits, greens, flaxseed, grains, exercise, berries, cruciferous vegetables, other vegetables, nuts and seeds, spices, and then water and green tea and
Hmm.
hibiscus tea.
Yeah. Ryan, who's watching, says, I drink a ton of jasmine tea every morning. Great. All tea is good. Tea is good. Oh, I wanted to show you
Yeah,
this
my husband
too.
and I love green tea as well. We make a mixture of Genmai green tea with
Hmm.
matcha in it. It's not decaf, but we really love it.
Hmm.
And we have a cup of that every afternoon. I
Yeah.
actually start my day with black coffee and then I
Hmm.
have green tea in the afternoon.
Keep talking for a second. I'm going to go get
What
some.
have you got there on your cutting board?
Those are my copycat Just Egg. So this is something that's in the Japanese ebook as well, and it has the same consistency of egg. It tastes like an omelet, and I make these in the Japanese ebook, the one for the bundle. I use this in a couple different preparations, but the recipe's in there for this too. And I use it to make the okonomiyaki, the Japanese pancakes. But I had a lot of leftover Just Egg because I did a demo on something the other day. So I had to finish up using it. So I made a bunch of these and I'll freeze them individually and then put them in the microwave for like 30 seconds and put them on a piece of Dave's bread and fold it over and have a little egg sandwich, plant-based egg
I
sandwich.
saw your recipe. So that's good to know you can freeze it. I've tried making um the egg with the mung dal once before, and so I'm excited to try yours because the recipe I found before was fairly complicated, and I had to modify it because it had a couple of weird ingredients in it. But yours looks much cleaner. So, and one of my favorite things that I don't eat anymore is the tamago, and I have the little pan. I have the square pan to make it.
Well, you can't make tamago with this very easily. And the reason
Oh, not tamago. No,
tamago
the
yaki.
rolled omelet. What's
tamago yaki?
Is
that? It's called tamago yaki.
you have a recipe? Okay.
Yeah, I have the recipe
So
in there, but it's really hard to make. I'm just warning you because with a nonstick pan, you have to really use a lot of skill. So just be forewarned. Be willing to have some time to spend to cook it just right to lift it off the pan, and you have to use a good nonstick skillet. So that's the other thing too. So anyway, but try it. I wanted to show you my tea. This is someone said Dr. Clapper is great too. Okay, so I ordered this. Say Me is in the bundle, and they have some coupons. Well, I was looking for something to replace my matcha tea powder because I use matcha tea powder in my smoothies, but I went completely caffeine free in the last few months because my blood pressure was a little higher than I wanted it to be, and I did a test to see if my blood pressure was higher after drinking caffeinated beverages, and it was. And so then I did an experiment and didn't use caffeine for a couple days, and it went down. And then I added a cup of tea, and it went back up. So I said, okay, it is the caffeine. So I said, I'm just going to drink decaffeinated tea from now on. Well, this is green tea powder, but it's decaffeinated, and it's sencha. And you can use it for smoothies, but you can also just a fourth of a teaspoon mixed with water, hot water, and you have a really good cup of tea. So that's something from the bundle as well. This company has a nice little informational thing. I can't remember what their coupon is, but they do have something in there. Say Me. And the other thing I order from them a lot is they have, it's like a coffee replacement, and it's made from brown rice and something else, but it's real dark, and I use it in place of espresso powder, like in brownies and stuff that call for a teaspoon of coffee or something. I'll use that Say Me coffee. It's called like, I can't remember what they call it. Coffee alternative is what they call it. And it actually tastes good.
Wonderful.
It actually tastes good, like a cup of coffee with some almond milk in it. So,
wow. And that's the same company that does the coffee, the brown rice powder.
Yeah, Coffee Alternative, but they have a really great website. And they also have regular green tea, but that was a thing that I really took away from Dr. Greger's work. He always talks about the benefits of tea, all kinds of tea. So I drink water a lot too, but I love hot tea throughout the day. And so now it's just decaffeinated, either with a tea bag is quick when I'm busy, or another thing that I've been doing a lot of is brewing my own tea in these different containers. So I have a lot of these brewing containers, and you take tea leaves and you put, like green tea leaves in here, like my Japanese mother would use. Let it steep for 2 or 3 minutes and then set it on top of a cup. And then what happens is all the tea drains to the bottom and the leaves are left in the top. There's a little thing that goes up and then allows it all to drain out. So it's really cool.
Well, thank you for pointing out that tea because I love hot tea as well, and I can only have a little bit of caffeine. If I drank hot caffeinated tea all day, I'd be a wreck. I'd probably have high blood pressure.
You start feeling like agitated.
Yeah. And so the only teas I have are like herbal teas, and I'm like, this is okay. But I love that there's a matcha that's decaffeinated, because matcha and sencha, the two that you mentioned, are my favorite. So thank you
Yeah.
for alerting me to that. See, that I haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it in the? There's also a book, Cooking with Tea, in the bundle.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's the same thing. This was just that company
It's
had
a
their
different
own
person.
little coupon thing, and then they talk about their products. But I've ordered several things from them. They're always really good, really nice people. They always send a personal handwritten note in your box of stuff and thank you and talk about the product, and it's written in beautiful cursive
That's
writing. So it's kind of a nice little
wonderful.
touch. But yeah, I
All
have
right.
been
Well,
busy with all this cooking, but also interviewing people and being interviewed, and it's always a lot of fun. So it was great touching base with you. And did you tell
yeah,
me
it was
before
wonderful.
that, Lisa? Did you tell me before that your mother is Filipino?
My father was
Oh,
from
your
the
father.
Philippines.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have
Hmm.
any cultural things about the cuisine of the Philippines in your family's cooking now?
Yeah, I actually make a very delicious adobo, which is
Mm-hmm.
a dish. It's a traditional Filipino dish that's it's kind of a coconut milk and vinegar. It's got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
vinegar and black pepper in it. It's sort of savory. And I make it with jackfruit and brine, and
Mm-hmm.
then I either use soy curls or you can get the Yuba sheets now. You can
Mm-hmm.
even get them
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Trader Joe's. Sometimes I'll put them in. One of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite things to use as a chicken substitute
Mm-hmm.
is shredding the trumpet mushrooms with a
Oh
fork. I
yeah. Yeah.
noticed you have the daburi bowl like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do that. So
Mm-hmm.
my adobo recipe,
Yeah.
there's two Filipino recipes in my cookbook, the adobo, and then there's a champorado, which is like a sticky rice with chocolate.
Oh, okay. What
Yeah.
about
So
what's
thank
the
you for
noodle
that.
dish? What's the Filipino pancit? Is that
Pancit, yes.
yeah? Do you have a recipe for that?
I haven't really tried that one yet. The one I've made, I didn't eat a lot of that, strangely, as a kid, but one of my favorite things as a kid was lumpia, but
Okay.
not the fried lumpia, the egg
Oh
roll,
yeah.
the Filipino egg roll. My
Yeah.
favorite was the fresh, and
Oh okay.
it's like
Mhm.
yeah. So I've made those before, so maybe those will be in my around the world too
Yeah.
ebook.
I have never.
Uh,
I didn't even know there was a fresh roll version of lumpia. I didn't even know that. So.
You can't, it's hard to find. Most
Mhm.
Filipino restaurants only do the fried.
Mhm.
But as a kid, my favorite, believe it or not, even as a kid, when I loved fried food, the fresh lumpia was always my favorite, because
Mhm.
it's almost like mushu. It's like
Mhm.
a mushu. It's
Yeah.
like you roll it up, and more so than a spring roll.
Yeah. Well, are there enough Filipino recipes and information that you could put together to do a uh, plant-based Philippines cookbook, even a short one? Because, I like unique things that you never found before, and I don't think there is anything in existence like that, and that would be so
Yeah,
valuable. I mean, even if you did an international one and also did a small one about, dishes from your father's, homeland, I just think that would be
that's a
cool.
great idea. That's a great
Mm-hmm.
idea. I wrote a blog post called "Eating Mangoes with My Ancestors"
Uh-huh.
about when I was a kid, and my father would have these big luau
Mm-hmm.
parties that were catered by a Filipino catering
Mm-hmm.
company, and they had like the whole pig in the spit, and it would
Yeah.
really upset me when I
Mm-hmm.
was a kid.
Yeah, I bet.
And I didn't like pork. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like pork as a kid, and pork was the center of Filipino food.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sort of frowned upon when I would go to my
Mm-hmm.
relatives and not eat the pork. But I really connected with my father over mangoes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
thank you for that idea. I'm going
yeah.
to work on that. I'm
A
going to work on
viewer,
a little Filipino plant-based.
somebody watching named Debbie said that would be awesome. So you've already got somebody who likes
Okay,
the idea. So, because I'm all for
well, thank you.
making something that nobody else has. I think that's why my plant-based Japanese is popular. People say it is, but because it's one cuisine and they know what it is. They go, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
not too long. It's about one kind of food. We recognize it. and it looks delicious. Well, Filipino food has gotten really popular in the U.S. in recent years, and there are a lot of Filipino restaurants opening up, and a lot of pop-ups and chefs that will talk about their heritage on like the, Food Network shows, and they'll say, well, I brought this flavor profile from my ancestors and my mother, but it's still not recognized as much as the other cuisines. So I think we just need people to let us know what it's all about so we understand it better.
Yeah, I'll have to work on some whole food plant-based versions because there are a couple of fabulous vegan Filipino chefs here in San Francisco, and the food
Oh,
is
okay.
delicious, but it's,
Yeah.
a lot of oil and it's high in salt. So I'll have to work on
Mhm.
some healthier versions of
Mhm.
those recipes for sure.
Well, yeah,
You've
and it can't.
inspired me
Yeah.
because also the heritage, like
Mhm.
what your story is so rich. Like I
Mhm.
love reading your story in your book.
Mhm.
And like the Korean vegan, she tells her
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
became very
Mhm.
popular telling the
Mhm.
stories of her family. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. I'll have to do like the Filipino side and then the Southern fried side, which is my
Yeah.
mom's side.
Well, see, that's my family. My father was from North Carolina, and he always wanted,
Right.
country fried chicken and, whatever potatoes. And then here's my mother trying to make grilled fish, and he would say, "You're stinking up the house with your fish, don't cook that anymore." And
Uh,
so she would kind of have to secretly eat her little Japanese food. So I have all these stories about, mixing the cultures and just, how difficult it was for her. But I think it's great for us to share things that others don't really know about and the things from the country our parents came from. There are things in
mm,
Japan that we don't have to this day. We don't have them in America. The way that vegetables are pickled and preserved, and the freshness of the food, and just the
mm.
practice of, like my aunt's house. Every day they go take a basket and they go down to the shopping street, and they get a bundle of green onions or green beans or one tomato or whatever, and they bring it home and they eat it for that day. They don't stockpile, Costco produce that's already been sitting around in a warehouse for a month. And then it doesn't ever taste
Yeah.
great because it's never really truly fresh. So there's a lot of practices in other cultures that I think, work really well for good food. So I think those are interesting things
Well,
to know about.
well, Okinawa is one of the places where
Mm-hmm.
people live typically to be in their
Mm-hmm.
hundreds, and that's
Yeah.
part of what you just described is what I've read, the
Mm-hmm.
practice, right? And they're
Yeah.
like everybody's gardening, they're growing their own
Mm-hmm.
vegetables. I've got
Yeah.
some pots out here behind our apartment. I'm going to be growing some vegetables
Mm-hmm. Good.
this
Yeah.
summer.
Great. Yeah. Well, the more we can
Well,
grow, I mean, I
Julia,
have the whole thing here. So the more we can grow, the better off we are.
well, thank you for sharing all your wonderful recipes. I'm excited to make the onigiri and the yakisoba and definitely the egg. I'm going to make the egg this week
Mm-hmm.
and I'll post some
Yeah.
pictures of
Yeah.
it.
And it really it makes the best like egg sandwich. So yeah, all the bundle. Well, let me show these again. Everybody needs to start making these bundle recipes. They're all so good. The homemade Snicker bars, the carrot cake energy balls, and oh, I'm going to go right as soon as I get done here. A friend of mine is going through a really bad situation. She's really depressed, and I'm going to make a gift box of these and the carrot cake energy balls, and I'm going to bring her a loaf of bread and I made tofu egg salad sandwich mix the other day, and it was from the Spring Collaboration ebook in the bundle, and it was so good. I made it 2 days ago. It's still good.
Oh,
I'm going to take her a bowl of that, a loaf of bread, and this, so that she can have something to eat because she's whole food plant based, no oil, and she can't just go out and buy stuff if she doesn't feel up to cooking. So that way I can
mm.
make all these test recipe things, but I have something to do with them that's positive. They're not just going to go to waste, because there's no way I can eat all these things and maintain my
Aw,
you know girlish figure. So
good is your love language. That's really kind of you to be doing that for her, and I
yeah.
wish I lived close to you.
Yeah, hopefully she'll like it. But even if she doesn't like the stuff, at least she knows my heart is in it for her. And
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. You have such a big heart.
Well,
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you for sharing that. I love hearing that. I think we all could use a little more of that.
Hey,
So
Debbie
thank
has a
you.
question, Lisa. Are some of your recipes in the bundle go ahead and talk real quickly about your bundle contribution, because she probably missed it.
Oh, thanks for asking, Debbie. It's called Around the World with Lisa Rice, 22 Plates from a Plant-Based Planet. And it's basically a journey around the world through your taste buds. I've got gallo pinto from Costa Rica. I've got this dal here, this easy Indian dal. There's an Italian frittata in there. Of course, the Filipino adobo. I've got a Japanese restaurant in there, and I hope I did it right. I have a recipe for gomai because it's one of my favorite things, which is which are blanched greens with a little toasted sweet and savory sesame top. So that's my contribution. I hope that you'll try the recipes and enjoy them.
I'm writing the name of it down here in the comments.
It's kind of long. You could just say Around the World with Lisa Rice.
I wrote that part, but I didn't get Filipino recipes in there, so I had to go down another line. But yeah.
Oh, no worries.
You know, that's what I remembered about you, because last year you told me that you loved my ebook, and when you read the story about my mother and father, it brought tears to your eyes. So I always remembered that. I said, oh, you know, I love the fact that I wrote something that had an emotional impact. And that ebook, the one last year, is being made into a book, like a paperback book, and it should be out in the fall. So, I mean, it's not like
and I think I told you. Yeah, I had just read that book, The White Flag. I think I told you.
I bought it. The Girl with the White Flag.
Yeah. And then I read your story, and I was very moved. So thank you for sharing your story, and congratulations on the paperback book.
Well, it's kind of like it's not like a publisher, you know, is doing it for me. There's a woman, she published my other book. I'll show you. It is the breakfast cookbook. No, I can't find it now. Here it is. So she publishes books. So I have my breakfast ebook. She turned it into a regular book that you can get on Amazon.
Beautiful.
And she's doing that with Plant-Based Japanese 1. And what it is a print on demand kind of a thing, where when it's ordered, it's printed. So, you know, it's just an easy way to get a book published. So I'd really like to have a true published book from a known publisher one day. So I just have to keep working on improving my recipes and writing them well. And maybe one day I'll have a regular book. That's my dream.
Well, no doubt you will. You know, I have no doubt about that, Julia, because your recipes are fantastic, and so is your story. So, and I will be in line to have my book signed when you're on your book tour.
If that ever happens, but I hope it does one day. But yeah, thank you for wanting to talk to me, and I love the topics and the subject matter of your ebook, and I think you're doing great things too, and it was great talking to you.
Thank you. Same, Julia. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to connect with you again, and hopefully, and I'll see you next year, probably for the bundle.
I'm working on. I got to work on something for next year too. Bye-bye.
We better start soon.
All right.
All right. Take good care. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining.